welcome. This is Central University Television, and
I am Mariama Precious Halabi. Today we'll be shedding light on a high-profile meeting that just concluded here at Central University, and it brought together high-profile personalities like the governor of the Bank of Sierra Leone, the country director for the International Growth Center, and vice chancellors from different universities across Sierra Leone. It's an honor to have you all with us, especially noting the fact that this is a student TV station. It's for educational purpose only. This serves as an inspiration to our students. Like they are inspired now that having the governor here, the country director for the International Growth Center, the vice chancellors, here at Central University, they have the passion now to move forward, knowing that they will one day sit here with all of you, or maybe somewhere else, doing the same exact thing. And so that's very good. So yes, Director, we understand that you had a meeting here with the governor present and all the vice chancellors present. Can you take us through the main idea or the main purpose of that meeting?
Yeah. The purpose of coming to Central University today has been to launch an initiative and to set the seal on a partnership between the International Growth Center and 5 universities in Sierra Leone. The International Growth Center is a multi-country, UK-funded program that marries excellent research with policymakers. So it provides policymakers with evidence that can help them to make better decisions. A lot of times we rely on expertise from outside of Sierra Leone. We know we have talent in country, and what may be lacking are some of the cutting-edge skills and things like that. So what we've come to do is to establish a partnership with 5 universities, of course, Central University, University of Sierra Leone, UNIMAC, UNIMTEC, and Njala University, just to start. And what the IGC, International Growth Center, will bring is some experts within its network who impart some skills, some of the latest research skills. It's important to recognize that the local understanding that our researchers have, contextual, the nuances, the relationships are important. So marrying that with cutting edge research skills, I think is going to be the winning formula to provide our policymakers with wider access to answers to questions they're grappling with. Solving complex problems is not guesswork. It's not leave it to prayer alone. There's good, solid evidence to be had. So this initiative, this partnership with 5 universities and the IGC gives strength to that. We've also launched we've named it the Herbert McLeod Memorial Fellowship. And I'll say a bit about Herbert McLeod, but the other part of this is to provide early career researchers an opportunity to work directly with policymakers to help them deal with some of their dilemmas and challenges. And it's only because at the last minute he was called away in his travel that the Minister of Agriculture would have been here with us today, Dr. Packard, because he is very, very keen on this. And the idea is to give a researcher at the early stage of their career an opportunity to work directly with policymakers and help them solve those problems with the questions they have and to conduct that research, that literature review, those sorts of things, and give quick policy relevant answers to some of the dilemmas. That's been the purpose of why we've come here. But specifically why we've come to Central University, it's at the center of Sierra Leone. It's an inspiring story.
Okay, so come back to you, Director. Let's head on to the governor. So in what ways do you vision the impact of this initiative to the development of youths and students within Sierra Leone?
Okay, well, we're particularly delighted to be here because the bank has some history with the IGC. We've collaborated in the past, but in terms of the model that the IGC has, it is very much in line with how the bank operates. We operate on an evidence-based policy initiative, and we support policy relevant research. And I think in terms of your specific question on youth and young people, I think there are many ways that the IGC can contribute to this, from research that it does to actual engagement, with young people across the spectrum on various aspects of things that they do. Let me give you a good example. We've got something called a Youth Entrepreneurship Fund program in the Bank of Sierra Leone, where we support young businesses by women and youth. There is a lot of work that research could do to support the sort of programs that come forward, and I think IGC has a role to play in all of this. But generally speaking, we support the initiative, and I believe most policy institutions would work with the IGC, given their track record and the sort of output that would be yielded from engaging with them.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. From the University of Management and Technology. I'm here to represent the Vice Chancellor.
Okay.
Our Vice Chancellor is Professor Malamo.
Okay.
He's not here, but I'm here to represent him.
Okay.
I am the acting registrar and the director of academic planning and quality assurance of the university.
Okay.
Yes.
So you being here today during the meeting, I'm sure that you have an idea of what this collaboration is going to entail. So what opportunities do you think exist for collaborations across universities to strengthen research, innovation, and workforce development in Sierra Leone?
First of all, let me start with what happens today. The signing of this MOU with the ICT. It's a great thing that is going down well with our universities, because it has provided the platform to empower us, or in other words, to even motivate us. If we were not doing what we're supposed to do, or we were joking with Richard this time around, I can tell you, I want to assure you that the universities, we are really going to push on, because we have some problems with the research work in our universities due to lack of collaboration, and we do not have the direct sponsorship. But today they have given us, and we have set the platform that we are sure if we perform extremely well, then we are really going to expect more and more. So that has given a very good image and a good opportunity for our students, because the students that we teach, the ones that we lecture, we are more of research.
Okay. Yeah. Director, in your statement during the meeting, you made mention that governments, they also face challenges, and that citizens have a role to play. Now, there's a popular belief among many Sierra Leoneans, not all, but many think that the work for a country to be developed rests solemnly on government. So what role do you think citizens can play in the development process of our nation?
Citizens have a huge role to play across the board. A government official, a policymaker sitting in their office can only guess at best what's going on. In fact, a lot of times, because we do a lot of work, I do a lot of work in the private sector development, and you talk to the policymakers, they say, but company X is saying this, company Y is saying this, I don't know which way to turn. So one of the things that citizens can do is to form themselves. Collective action is important. So coming together. Of course, there can be contradictory viewpoints, different citizens, different views, but at least coming together to be able to articulate these views in a more coherent way. That's government. That's one. Just giving guidance and giving clear feedback as to what we want. Holding governments to account. This is not, I think we've got to a point where we seem to confuse holding governments to account and being critical, always being in the opposition. So it's very important that we try and give constructive feedback. We take it outside of partisan back and forth, into the issues as they matter. And that's where research also comes in. Because when things are rigorously researched, as opposed to let me find a way to undermine this person or that person, I want their job, or I want this, I want that, I want it to look bad, that's one thing. But when you start to do, and people start to trust the fact that you have conducted very rigorous research, if it's showing that this policy is not working or this group of people are not benefiting from some initiative, it's easier to accept if we've all got that common platform. But then, really, as citizens, we've also got to get used to the idea to get rich and to advance yourself. The goal shouldn't be to get a job in government. You go to government to serve. If you want to get rich, you go to the private sector. This is the mindset that we have to shift. Most times people think, I just need a contract, or I just need somebody in government to give me something. That's also, so we are busy corrupting. We talk about corruption, but we are also busy as citizens corrupting the people in government. Hey, well, just get a job, and you don't get with yourself, manager, and so on and so forth. So it's a two-way street. Government, we expect people in government to uphold high standards, but as citizens, we also have to reflect that, basically.
Okay, so that's a two-way street.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you so much for that. Governor, has the Bank of Sierra Leone got any plan to partner with universities to promote financial literacy among youth and students?
Absolutely. We have a financial inclusion program. We have a financial literacy strategy. And over the years, we've partnered with schools and universities, and our people have come out with our joint programs, and that's going to continue. I think it is important that basic financial literacy is common, because if you don't understand basic finance and how you manage your own resources, you'll be in a lot of problems. So it is important that our strategy, our financial inclusion strategy, includes aspects of financial literacy, and we go out across the community, schools, universities, to try to promote this. We also publish literature on this. There is a financial literacy pamphlet that comes out regularly that the bank publishes that captures various activities that we've undertaken and things that are upcoming that we would like the public to know about.
Okay, so a lot of times young people, I'm a young person, I interact with a lot of other young people, and we have this opinion that research is very, very boring. So what ways can we make research more interesting for our younger people to have more interest in some of these activities? Because one of the speakers made mention that for dissertations, students run away. They think you've dropped the state building on them because they find it very difficult to engage into. But I think if it's interesting, then maybe more people might want to come into that kind of trade or that kind of career path without being forced into. So what's your ideas on that?
First of all, I bet you every young person conducts research. That's the first thing. If they like that guy over there or they like that girl over there, they're going to do research. It's like, come on, what's in their name? It's how you let for go, and so on and so forth.
Not go without.
That's research. If they like an artist, Burna Boy, what will they do? They'll follow it on TikTok, with this, with their girlfriend, how much money they make, kind of thing. What's the latest? All the records that he has, where is he going to perform? That's research, right? So, what am I getting at? I'm saying that research is how you frame it. When people realize that they actually conduct research, if they like a fashion item, I want to buy a pair of jeans, they will do research. Maybe that you could say, oh, that's trivial. It's not trivial, because your value for money, quality, does it have the brand? If I want to look good and I want to, is that the brand? Is that the best brand for me? These are research questions. Okay. So I think if we start from there, I think people get to say, okay, this work, it's not just dry, academic, boring things and things that are, and when you start to address problems, if you take young people and say, what are the problems that you face? Why is Kush spreading in every neighborhood, right? And then let's go out and just conduct some research and ask why. Ask users, how is this being distributed in a neighborhood? How do we stop this? How do we These are all the kinds of questions. And that question is directly something that the Ministry of Social Welfare is dealing with right now, Ministry of Health. So you immediately can draw a connection between what is actually the problems that we're dealing with. And you raised a very good point earlier when you said, agriculture, people think agriculture is boring. You said, let's make it sexy, let's make it interesting. When you start to think about the nutritional elements, or you think about careers, one of the things, the problem in agriculture is that we're presenting it as probably our grandfathers or great-grandfather used to do digging, and then all we've seen is poverty. There are skills now that we didn't have before, that you now have, based on science, based on practice. So all of this makes research very exciting, very interesting, and very relatable.
Okay.
What you're saying, Jokes, is really important. To be able to do research and to be able to solve a problem, you need to understand the issues. You need to say, take a very simple example. You want to introduce a product in a market. You've got to understand the market. You've got to understand where the gap is in the market and what problems your product will solve. So research becomes more interesting when you solve problems. Research becomes a bit boring when you do it for its own sake. Oh, I want to prove that X prime X equals to something. Fine. Maybe somebody has proven it before. So to be able, as students, to be able to do research and understand, and make an impact, try to get a good understanding of the area that you're interested in. Once you are able to grasp a general understanding, you know where the gaps are, and then you can make a meaningful and good contribution.
Okay.
So it's a very simple arithmetic, but you need to appreciate and understand it. Know the spectrum, the area, see what questions remain unanswered, try to target those questions, and it'll be very interesting.
Okay. I'm sure that we are all following up. If we have that idea that research is very boring. Yes, please.
Yeah, I just want to buttress what they are saying on the basis of the university. That's why we are introducing students. Because in the university, you are there to acquire the skills that you will implement when you go outside there. So there are times before you go, they want to know if you have got. We have a subject, you know it, research as a subject. You are taught, but that one is theoretical. When we come to the practical, you are introduced, say, write a dissertation, wherein you demonstrate the practical work of what you have learned. That's the work. So that is just what they are saying. You cannot go without research. Whether you know it or you don't know it, you should know it, right?
Okay.
That research is something that you do every day, and it's very essential.
You know, one of the things that universities can do is to encourage students to tackle problems that interest them. See, when I went to school here and I started university here, and the way that I was taught here was pretty much, it's like you open your head, you pour in the knowledge, close your head, then they put the exam paper in front of you. Oh yeah, right. And you're supposed to regurgitate exactly what they told you. You shouldn't deviate. Stick straight to what they told you, put it down. When I went to the UK, and I'd been working for some time, and then I had done some studies, but I wanted to do a degree. But then I'd been working in computing for a number of years. And I came from Sierra Leone. I left Sierra Leone, I'd never seen a computer many years ago. And I was thinking to myself, if I go back to Sierra Leone, how does information technology relate to developing country? There was nowhere in the academic environment in those days find that. Then I found out that there was a course that you could do by independent study. And it was established under the principles of a very notable radical theorist called Paulo Freire, Pedagogy of the Oppressed. The idea was to empower, in fact, to reverse the roles. It wasn't the teacher with all the knowledge and you, the learner. It was the opposite way. So you, the learner, you're in the seats, in the driving seats. This transformed my whole perspective. Because when you realize that the problems you face in life, you can undertake research to solve them, to find out why that is. Sierra Leone, we have so many questions. We don't really know answers. We just talk. You don't really, so. If this is our government guy goes, it never comes and say the same problems. So we haven't understood the problem. We haven't researched the problem. So I think and Central University, I'm sure you do this, but if you don't, open up and encourage people. What are the issues that you think that are bothering you? And then start there to develop
Little by little.
Yes, that's how to make research as sexy as it is. That's what it is.
All right. So thank you so much. I think we now get the idea of the sexy part or the interesting part of research. Yes. So before we go, now Central University is keen on incorporating the idea of technology into everything we do, basically prioritizing practicals over theories to back theories and all of that. Governor, how do you think this supports government's initiative to attain quality educational services in the country?
Entirely. Look, technology is a fact of life. It's a fact of modern life. And everything we do has to be underpinned by good technology. Financial sector, for example, we're moving at pace. Digital financial services. Everything that we used to do traditionally by paper is done digitally now. Even financial assets are digitally constructed these days. So technology is very important in everything that we do. The government, I happen to have partnered with ESTI and other aspects of government. The government is doing a great deal of work in incorporating technology into its services. We as the central bank, we are licensing a wide range of financial products that are digitally driven. I mentioned the sandbox that we established, the first in Africa, where basically we encourage innovators to come in and do their ideas and test them, give them license to operate in the industry. Digital financial services is the future of finance. Digital economy is the future of economics. So without any gainsaying, it's particularly the way to go.
Okay, so what's your opinion about Central University's services in...
I'm only learning about Central University today more and more so, but from what I've had so far, I think it's very good. I think, modernizing learning, incorporating technology into learning, but also weighting practical activities as opposed to theory. Please don't forget, good practice comes from theory. So there's always a feedback loop between practice and theory. In as much as I appreciate and understand the emphasis on technical sort of vocation within Central University, I think it's a good model. It's a very good model. It's practical.
Thank you so much, Dave.
Well, because you talked about the role of Central University and because the Vice Chancellor is not here, I want to come back to something that the Vice Chancellor said towards the end. And we didn't pick up on it, but I want to pick up on it.
Okay.
I think what I think Central University is amazing, doing fantastic work, and you leadership. So the Vice Chancellor said, we talk about collaboration. And all the universities will have their different branding and locations and specialisms. But the issue of collaboration is key. And I would want to see Central University playing a leading role in, as we come here today, but to facilitate, we as NUC will support that. And I think the drive should come from the universities, because you suggested, Vice Chancellor, that IGC should hold forward and yeah, but I think it's a fantastic idea. As I said in my remarks, I've been very inspired because I found out a story of Central University. It's a very illustrative and inspiring story. The founder, because nowadays when you talk about the diaspora, sometimes it's mostly people who live for politics and so on. When you have diaspora who are really, how do I contribute to the country's development? How do I build something that outlasts me? And as I said, this is a family that is not just here, but down the road you've got the hospital. So we should use stories, to your point earlier, about how young people can get interested in research. Storytelling. Do the research, but then so what? Because so what is a story. That story can really inspire you to say, oh, I really want to do this. How do I do it? You then go down that road all the time. So the story for me, and I'm very interested in stories, the story of symbolically coming to some really central part of the country. This is like a convergence point. And then you've got this inspiring university from a college down to an established university from 2021. We have so many problems. We should tell ourselves true but inspiring stories. Central University is one, personally. So it's important that we take that, we follow, we support. But for me, coming out of this today, I would like to take that and Professor Conte, the idea of a fantastic one we should work towards. And we should make sure that lots of young people are very much a part of it.
Yeah.
And I'm very confident that the governor will also, because of the policy maker, but also somebody who drives innovation, practice, and so on.
Yeah.
No, I'm particularly pleased that Professor Conte is leading this university.
Right.
Well, yes, it's from the bank, and we're very proud of that. It's from Bank of Sierra Leone, but also is the sort of person precisely when you think about this sort of innovation and moving things forward that could do it. And we're very proud to associate with him today.
Thank you.
Well, the only thing, what I should say, this one is out of our chest also, right? I know the pioneers, the founding fathers of this institution, they really need their chance before ever it is kind of planted here. That's what I believe. And also, when you look at the programs that are offered here, they are also based on research, looking at the most needed priority of the community. Okay? And that is what I can say. So it's a research-based institution.
All right. Thank you so much, Governor, Director, and Vice Dr. Kamara for being here with us. I'm sure our students watching you right now are greatly inspired by your presence here today and also being available to speak with us at our students' TV station. Now, what do you think about research? Did you think that it's boring? Do you think it can be interesting? Drop your comments and tell us what you think about research. I think it's time for us to tell so many untold stories or discover new facts that will help our country grow. I am Marima Kushitalabi, and this is Central University. Join us next time. Thank you.